Hello everyone, my name is Juliet Payan. I am a student at Grand Canyon University in the Leadership and Management class, and this is a presentation on strategic plan. Attached with this video presentation is a PowerPoint outline. You can follow along, and at the end of the presentation, I'm looking forward to reading the comments. Okay, so we're going to start by going over the outline of the presentation. Okay, the outline is as follows. We're going to go over the mission and vision of the Veterans Health Administration, which is VHA. We're going to talk about who the stakeholders are, what's expected of the employees, the media, how the media affects the VA, employee engagement, trust, employee performance, and accountability. We're going to go over the steps to improve engagement, trust, and accountability. And then we're going to talk about how the process of this plan will help improve veterans' health. And then finally, we're going to talk about we're going to summarize the presentation. Okay, I think it's very important for every employee to understand or to be able to articulate about the goal of the organization. Why is that important? Because the goal pretty much set the standards, set the guide to the plans that we ought to follow in our daily routine, in our daily task while working. Okay, so the mission is as follows. Okay, the mission of the Veterans Health Administration is to honor America's veterans by providing exceptional health care that improve their health and well-being. The key to the mission is we are to provide exceptional health care to the veterans. Okay, the vision is to be patient-centered, integrated healthcare organization for veterans providing excellence in healthcare. Okay, exceptional health and excellent in healthcare. Okay, excellence in healthcare, research, and education. An organization where people choose to work, an active community partner, and a backup for national emergency. Okay, those words are, to me, are serious words. They shouldn't be taken lightly. Okay, and I believe that we need to remind ourselves, remind employees of the mission and vision of why we are there as employees at the VA. Okay, who are our stakeholders? Our biggest stakeholders are the veterans. Um, the veterans, the employees, nurses, doctors, pharmacists, nutritionists, social workers, the community. We do refer patients to the community. Um, Logistics, um, administration, clerical staff. So we have a huge body of stakeholders. The media, political figures, all these people are in are stakeholders. Okay, but the main focus, the main stakeholders we're talking about in this presentation is the interaction between the nurses, the providers, the doctors, and the veterans. Okay, the nurses and the doctors spend most of the time, especially the nurses, we spend most of the time with the patient. So our interaction with the patient is with the veterans. I will be using veterans and patients interchangeably. Our interaction with the veterans is crucial. It's important. We can make a we can make a difference on the way we interact with the patient, with the patient. If the nurse is not engaged, you're not showing that caring attitude. We're not reaching out and going that extra mile to help that veteran. Then we are failing in what we're supposed to be providing to that veteran. Okay, what is the expectation of the employee? What is the expectation of the nurses? Okay, we're expected um, to perform at the peak of our scope. We're supposed to perform, to the best of our ability. Okay, we are to collaborate with the physician. We have to collaborate in the care plan to make sure that the care plan is well thought of, is well put together for the well-being of the veteran. We have to be able to meet the veteran where they are, and provide the best possible care to the veterans, his family, his caregiver, because the caregiver plays a big role in the veterans life and in the veterans healthcare. So therefore, we have to incorporate the veterans support system as part of the veterans life, and be able to provide services to the complete family. Okay, we have to collaborate with other disciplines. Okay, for example, as far as collaboration, a couple of months ago, a veteran was trying to get supplies from prosthetics. This veteran called asking to speak to the doctor after not being able to get his supplies 2.5 months. That makes no sense. Um, as a nurse covering for during in that clinic that day, I when I find out that was going on, my thing was, okay, this is unheard of for a veteran to try to get supplies 2.5 months and was not able to get it. So I promised the veteran, I'm going to find out what's going on. I'm going to get to the bottom of this, and then I'll make sure to help you along the way until you get the supplies that's needed. Okay. So I calling the department. They weren't able. I wasn't able to get through. So I politely left my unit and went over there to that department to find out what is it that this veteran need to get the supply. So what they tell me was so insignificant. So I went back, find the doctor, write whatever note they asked for, and then took it back up there. When I took it back up there, no, you cannot bring it in. The veteran have to bring it. I'm like, okay, this is somebody that's been waiting, have not been able to get a hold. What number are you calling to get a hold of the veteran? Oh, this is the number we got. This is the same number that I called that I got a hold of the veteran. So I went back, I called the veteran. When you come and get me. We're going to walk up there together to make sure that the supply you need, you get it. So the next day, the veteran did come. I went up there with him, and we were able to get that problem resolved. But these are like things that happen. Even as sometimes as employee, when you go to a certain department, the reception you get is less than caring. Okay, so imagine somebody that is not well, that's trying to get what the needed and either information or supply to help them improve their health, and they encounter that kind of negativity is not good. So this is because of a lack of engagement in the employee part. Okay, um, to continue, as far as um, the media take thing, it portrayed the VA in a negative way. When one thing, when they take one, when the media take one incident and bring it to light, it it negates all the other good stuff that has happened. So it is important to make sure to try to stay out of that negative light, because we do more than that one or two incident. That I have two examples, and there are things that happen that pretty much could have been avoided, but it happened, so we have to learn from it and move forward. But the goal is, as employees, especially as nurses, to make sure we keep that positive attitude going. That we have to keep that caring going, to make sure that we don't get to that negative light in the community, in the veterans home and things like that. Okay. Now, to get to the part of my plan, okay, my plan is to try to get employees engaged, to get employees to trust the organization, to get the employees to be more accountable for the care they provide to the employees. Although I'm focusing on the nursing aspect of this presentation, but it can be carried over to different departments. Okay. Um, the the first thing with the plan, okay, to get this out in the open, communication. Okay, there have to be communication between managers and employees. Okay, there's a lack of trust on both sides. Okay, so we have to meet somewhere. Okay, and it's gonna take time. My proposed plan is um, to start the conversation by having a meeting. Okay, the meeting is gonna state facts. Okay, this is what's going on. We are failing our veterans. Um, what's going on? Okay, the care is not being done. It's not being performed according to the best of our abilities. Okay, it's not about pointing fingers. It's about getting to the bottom of what's not right to make it right. And part of the things that aggravate the the whole interaction is the lack of engagement, the lack of trust, the lack of caring, the lack of accountability. Okay, so to begin with the communication, because of the lack of trust, employees are not going to be forthcoming with information. So I propose, having encouraged to have a list of what employees sees as a hang up, as a barrier to being engaged, to having a communication with management, to providing the best possible service for the veterans. So with that list, and management also will probably have a list of what they see that the employees are not doing. Okay, and then moving forward from that list, there's not gonna be no repercussion because this is a dialogue to make things better. Okay, that has to also be present that also have to be talked about at the beginning of the meeting. This is not about pointing fingers. This is not about finding fault. This is we're trying to um, make the veterans experience better. Okay, and we have to make our performance improve our performance. Okay, so another thing that managers need to keep in mind when employees are not engaged, there's lack of trust, and it causes increased absenteeism. It causes call out, increased turnover. It causes a whole gamut of a whole gamut of things that has negative effect, and eventually it end up costing the organization more money. It caused readmission because there's not enough education, the staff didn't do what they were supposed to do, and the patient comes back. It end up costing more money also. So it is imperative to the organization for both employees and managers to have this to build this trust, respect, accountability for the good of the veterans. Okay, um, so after this initial communication, I propose to meet weekly, if not bi-weekly, and then to slowly start going over everything on the list. Okay, um, and then the everything on the list one by one. And then the other thing that the manager must keep in mind, you have to be true to your word. You have to be visible at the beginning of this process. You may have to be on the unit 60 to 70% of the time, just encouraging the employees side by side. For example, let's say some managers have not had a patient load in a couple of years. They've been too busy doing administrative stuff. Let's say you have a shortage in staff. You may not be able to carry a patient load, but there's something simple you can do. After all, you are a nurse. You can pass the trays. You can help with bed bath. You can answer the phone. You can call the doctor. Just make yourself available for the staff. That shows support. That with little steps like such as these, it will build it will build a relationship. It will start building the trust. Okay, so being present, being visible, having a meeting to make sure that the communication stays open. Um, how long will this process take? It depends. You just have to keep talking to the employee. Once that trust has been developed, you're gonna see the difference. There's gonna be less call out. There's gonna be happier employees, and with happier employees, what's gonna happen? When you have satisfied employees, you have less call out. The patient are satisfied. The patient are happy. There's less complaint. Um, so it's a win-win situation. Okay. And once you have established this type of rapport with your staff, then you don't need to be there 60% of the time on the floor. It can go down to 30%, but you have to keep in mind, you have to be there to encourage, to support, um, to support your employees. And the employees have to be able to trust you enough where if when an issue arises, they can openly talk about it and collaboratively come to a solution. Okay. Um, and then the other thing is that once you develop that rapport, once everything, employees or have trusting more in the organization or more engaged, then come the aspect of accountability. Okay, accountability on both sides. Um, Again, as I mentioned it before, if you, as a manager, if you promise, um, you have to deliver on your promise. As the employee, you have to hold them accountable to what they're supposed to do as far as the task, the function of that part of their performance. Okay, um, the higher the expectation, the more you'll get. If this expectation is low, then you get you get lower outcome. Okay, um, so the steps to improving engagement starts with communication. Okay, at the beginning, communication gonna be a little staggered because of this lack of trust, but to continue meeting um, to build rapport, you have to be present. Okay, and you have to be true to your word. Okay, visibility is also very important. Okay, and once the employees are more engaged and trust is there, they are accountable, then the benefit is going to be to the veterans. Um, the veterans is going to be the veterans will be happier. They will have less complaint, and there will be check and balance because they are engaged in because the nurses will be engaged, or the employees will be engaged in their task, in their performance. Okay, so this is my proposed plan. And in summary, as employees of the Veterans Health Administration, it is our duty to perform to a higher standard. The minimum standard is set, but we should all strive to perform at a higher standard. After all, we are caring for our country's heroes. Without their selfless act, we would not be able to enjoy the freedom we are enjoying. So we are here for our veterans, and we should always strive to perform at higher than the set standard. Okay, all employees should be held accountable to the same high standard. Thank you. This is the end of my presentation, and I hope you enjoyed, and I look forward to your comments. Thank you.